Good evening everybody and welcome to tonight's multi-level mat Pilates class. As we usually say, please take this class at your own level. This class is all about you having almost an hour for yourselves. So these exercises are for you to enjoy and for your benefit. If you want to push yourself and have a challenge, fantastic, go for it. Or if you want to just take it as an easy, gentle class, that's fine too. It's whatever works best for you. We're going to start standing up today and we're going to find our perfect Pilates stance first. So standing with our feet together, we're going to turn our toes out at 10 to 2, lift up and swivel down so our heels are now flat on the floor. Spreading through our toes, starting with the little feet on the mat, going through one foot at a time down to our big toe, and then lifting up our big toe, trying to lift one toe at a time. Easier said than done. I don't know why my hands always go as well. Lowering down one at once, lifting up and lowering them down nice and spread out, making sure we've got firm foundations there. We're going to find our Pilates pelvis now. So as we usually say, our pelvis needs to be in the center. We're going to start by just rocking through our pelvis like we do when we're lying down. We're going to curl out behind us, into the middle, up to the front. Into the middle, out behind us, tucking under, up to the front. So we're really scooping out, scooping through the pelvis. You can have a slight bend in the knee if that helps. And coming back to find that central point. Still with our feet hip width apart, we're going to find our perfect balance now. So I want you to lean forwards as far as you can. Almost as though if I put my finger behind you, you topple over. Back to the centre and just move the weight to your heels as far back as you can without falling down. Back to centre. Leaning forwards as far as you can without toppling over. Back to centre. Back to the back. Just working in your own time to just find that centre point. When you come to find your centre point, again, grounding down, making sure your feet are nice and spread through the mat. And just taking a minute here, take a few breaths. As we're standing here, you may just want to close your eyes for a second if you feel comfortable. And just do a quick scan of your body, starting at the head, the neck, the shoulders, back, your torso, down through your tummy, your pelvis, upper legs, knees, lower legs and feet. Just noticing how everything's feeling. Are there any areas of tension, any areas of stiffness? Anything feeling a bit niggly, a bit grumbly? If there are, just take a few breaths and try and send some healing energy to those areas. On our next inhalation, just wiggling the fingers, maybe just having a wriggle through the shoulders. I'm going to start thinking about bringing our abdominals in. So we're going to imagine that we're pulling on a really tight pair of jeans. We're struggling to zip them up, pulling that belly button in towards our spine, pulling all our passengers up and in as though it's a drawstring purse. So we've got a lovely tight band around our core, our Pilates powerhouse. Starting to get some movement in now. Roll your shoulders up, back and down. Imagine that you're putting your hands into pockets in the back of your jeans. And then allow your arms to just gently float up, not all the way. Pushing down as though we're pushing through treacle. Floating the arms up, just slightly. Pushing down through treacle. Inhaling up. Exhaling through our pursed lips. Bringing the arms a little higher now. Inhaling up to shoulder height. Exhale, pushing through thick treacle back down. Inhaling up, can we go a little higher this time? Exhaling down. Inhaling right up as high as you can. Eye gaze goes up to the top. Exhale. Bring those arms back down once more. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling all the way down. Fantastic. We're going to start getting some movement into our feet now. So if we raise up onto the balls of the feet on our right foot and then push down as we raise up through the heels, onto the ball of the left foot, pedaling our heels, starting to get some movement, flexibility into those toes. Oh, everything's cracking and popping for me. Just had a lovely long walk this afternoon with my friend, and I'd have thought that would have helped everything loosen up. We've still got a few cracks and pops going on. One more on each side. Brilliant. Bring your feet a little closer together now. Really plant that left foot down. Imagine that you've got roots spreading out into the ground. Draw the kneecap up on that left leg. Tighten the glute. Pull your abdominals up. And can you lift your right knee up? Point and flex the toes here. Circle the ankles one way. Circle them the other. Lowering down. Spreading the weight evenly on that right foot. Lifting up through the left. Pointing and flexing. Rotating one way. Rotating the other way. Lowering down. Let's do it again on the other side. Lifting up. Pointing and flexing. Circling one way. Circling the other. And the same on the other side. It's so rare that we focus attention on our feet and our ankles. When we start classes or go to the gym, we never think, oh, I want pretty thin ankles. And it's something that, you know, supports us so much of the day, and we rarely think about them. Going into our Pilates squats now. This is where our glutes are really going to fire up. So for our Pilates squats, I'm going to turn this way so you can see. What we do is we inhale as we exhale, sitting down as though we're sitting on a chair, arms come out in front. Inhale up, exhale down, trying to get the thighs parallel to the floor. Sticking our bums out behind us as though we're sitting on a chair. Well done. Can you start feeling those thighs kicking in? Starting to get some warmth in there now. Two more. Last one, fantastic. We're going to come to the end of our mat now. We're going to start rolling down. Before, we've talked about our spine being like a string of beads, and imagining that each time we move one of the vertebrae in our spine, it's like moving one of those beads on our necklace. So we're going to start just at the top with our cervical spine, making sure our feet are hip width apart, drawing up our abdominals. Just exhaling, tucking the chin. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, tucking the chin. Inhale, coming back up. Going to go a little deeper now. Starting working into our thoracic spine. Lifting up. Exhale. Rolling down a little more. Inhaling up. Exhale. Rolling down. Inhaling up. Our head is always the last thing to move. As we roll down this time, maybe come down halfway, our waist, parallel to the mat. Restacking the vertebrae one at a time. Exhale, tucking the chin, rolling forwards, coming halfway so you've got a flat back still, rolling up, shoulders come up, back and down, chin and head come up. On this exhale, let's try and go as low as we can. You may find that your hands are on your knees, on your shins, on your ankles, or they may come down to the floor. Just take a couple of breaths here, feeling a lovely stretch up our hamstrings, the backs of our legs. And inhale, slowly rolling up, one vertebra at a time. Shoulders come up, back and down. Last to move is our head. Exhaling down. Imagine you rolling over a barrel. Coming down to wherever's comfortable for you. Hands onto opposite elbows. Nod your chin as though you're saying yes. Shake your head as though you're saying no. Another nod yes. Another shake no. While we're here, just thinking about that forward and backward movement we did at the start of the class. Maybe sway side to side as well. Starting to get some movement in the lower part of our spine, our lumbar spine. As we ragdoll down, you may want a little bounce here. Remember, it's your practice, it's what feels good for you. And we come to stillness. On the next inhale, rolling up, slowly stacking our vertebrae. Shoulders up, back and down, head comes up. This time, when we roll down, we're going to stay down on the mat. So tucking the chin, rolling over a barrel. Exhaling down, coming down onto all fours, and we'll have a quick cat-cow here. So with our knees under our hips, wrists should be more or less under our elbows and our shoulders, all neatly stacked. Feet flat on the floor, tucking our tailbone out, our tummy arches towards the ground. Last thing to move is our head coming up into our cow stretch. Tucking the tailbone under, moving one vertebra at a time. Rolling those shoulders up, putting that dot of paint on the ceiling. Last to move is our cervical spine, tucking under. Exhale. Coming into our cow stretch. Inhale. Cat stretch. Shoulders raised up to the ceiling. One more. Cow. Coming into a cat. Now pushing back into our extended child's pose. Stretching out from the tips of our fingers right the way down our spine. Pushing up on the hands, and we're going to come to a seated position with our legs in a straddle position. We're going to point our toes up, so our feet are flexed, nice active feet. With our legs, if you engage the kneecaps, draw the kneecaps up, engage the glutes, you'll notice that your heels actually lift up off the floor. And we're going to imagine that we've got a big porridge pot in front of us. So I'm giving each of you a big wooden spoon, and we're going to stir the porridge pot, starting close in, exhaling as we stir that pot away from us. Inhaling as the spoon comes closer, exhaling away, inhaling close, exhaling, stirring as far around that pot as we can. When we come to the middle, we're going to change direction. Still, exhaling as we're pushing away, inhaling as we come close to the body. Stretching out as far as we can. Those lovely rotations in the spine. And our inhalation coming back to the centre, fantastic. You might want to just pull the flesh away from your sit bones, making sure that we sit up nice and tall. Those feet are still active. Arms are going to come up and out to the side as we get ready to perform our saw movement. So with this one, swinging round, the opposite arm comes out behind us. This hand turns, and 3 little pulses to chop off that baby toe, just moving forwards a bit, making sure I've got enough room. So inhaling back to centre, exhaling, chopping off, inhaling to centre, chopping the toes off, inhale to centre, exhale as we rotate, 3 little cuts for that baby toe. One more on each side. Back to centre, well done. Bringing the knees up, just letting them come to rest in front of you in a raised position. Hands just going out behind you. And we're just going to do a little bit of a counter pose to just stretch those hips out in the opposite direction. Letting both knees fall over to the left as we look over our right shoulder. Inhale, everything back to centre. Exhale, legs over to the other side, looking over the opposite shoulder. Inhaling back to centre. Exhaling away. Inhaling back to centre. Exhaling away. Inhale back to centre. Fantastic. Pulling ourselves up. And we're going to come onto our mat into our tabletop position. From here, we're going to be doing a new position tonight. It's called our pigeon pose. Oh, this one's a half pigeon. If I turn around this way, you should be able to see a little better. So starting with one of our legs, we're going to bring it forwards. So for you, that will be parallel to the front, to the short edge of your mat. It will look like this. If it's closer in towards the body, that will be easier. The further away it is, the harder it will be. This back leg, we're going to just use our knee and our toes to just hutch it away. And we can be here with our hands on the mat. We can have our hands on the knee if we want. Remember, it's your practice, it's what feels good for you. So choosing your position, just taking a couple of breaths here, stretching out through our thighs. It should feel a nice stretch for you, this one. If you're feeling adventurous and want to try it, you can kick that back leg up and flex the foot. If you want more of a challenge, grab that foot with the opposite hand, or even grabbing it with both hands to pull out through the shoulders, holding it here in whichever position you prefer. 3, 2, 1. Inhaling back down. Release that knee back. Just push back into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Noticing if you can feel any sensations from where we've just been moving, maybe the lower back, maybe the hip, maybe the shoulders. Coming forwards and bringing the opposite leg forwards. You might want to just give it a hand to move into position. Outstretched leg, using our knee and our toe to just hutch it back. Our foot is flat on the floor. If you want to be here, that's fine. Remember, if that heel is closer into the groin, it's a little bit easier. You might want to rest up on your knee. If that's too much for the lumbar spine, you can be down on your hands. If you want more of a challenge, kick that extended foot up, leg up even, flex the foot. You may want to grab it with an opposite hand, or if you've got the balance, both hands. That was my shoulder cracking then. And taking a few breaths here, This is our king pigeon pose. If you'd rather be in half pigeon, that's absolutely fine. It's your practice, whatever feels good for your body. Taking another couple of breaths. Releasing that knee and just pushing back again into our extended child's pose. If that's too strong on the shoulders, you can rest your forehead on the mat and bring your arms down the side of the body, or thread the arms between the knees. Personally, I feel that's a little bit too bunched up with the arms between the knees. Coming into a seated position in the middle of our mat, soles of the feet together, and just having them wherever feels comfortable for you. You may want to bring them closer to the body, you may want to push them further away. Hands can be on the knees, at the ankles or round the feet. And imagining these are our butterfly wings. We're just going to give our wings a little flap, just to release our hips, because our pigeon pose can be quite a strong one. Just a little flap, maybe you can feel them, your hips releasing a little more each time, getting closer to the mat. Fantastic. Bringing the knees back together. We're going to roll over onto our backs now. So we're working into our abdominal muscles now, making sure that our abdominals are nice and engaged, switched on. Everything's pulling in and up and we're still zipping into those tight jeans. We're going to float our knees up into tabletop and then raise them up 90 degrees. Toes are pointed, arms are on the floor, just to give us a little bit of support. Breathe in, make sure the abdominals are engaged. Exhale, lowering the legs down to about 45 degrees. Inhale, lifting them back up. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lifting back up. As we exhale, being careful that if we lower them too far down, you can probably see my back arches up off the mat. So just lowering down to about 45 degrees, raising them back up. Lowering down on an exhale. Inhale up. Lowering down. Inhaling up. Lower. Raise them up. Well done. Keep going. Pressing down through those hands on the mat if you feel you need to. Fantastic. Hug those knees in. Have a little rock and roll from side to side if that feels good, massaging out the spine. So those were our lower lifts. And we're going to work on a reverse crunch next, another new one for us. So you might have noticed when you're doing the lower lift, if you got a little bit too over enthusiastic, your bottom started to raise up off the mat. Well, that's exactly what we want with this next. So when we say reverse crunch, in a crunch usually we're crunching up that way, but with a reverse crunch, we're starting to bring our bottom off the mat and our legs going in the direction of over our head. So making sure you've got enough room, you're not going to knock anything out of place, making sure your dealies aren't falling out of your ears. Knees up into tabletop, straighten the legs, lower down to just before 45 degrees. Push your hands into the mat, use a bit of momentum, rock your body up. If you need to, you want to just use your hands to just help. Using a bit of momentum, curling up and down through the spine. Exhaling up, inhaling away. One more. Well done. Hug those knees in. That's quite a tough one. Much stronger than when we go the other way. Coming into our relaxation position now. Feet flat on the floor, knees bent up towards the ceiling. Arms are just flat on the floor. Inhaling, making sure we're nice and tall through the body. Our abdominals are pulled in. And as we exhale, nodding our chin to our chest. So just our neck and shoulder, neck and head come off the mat. Inhale, lowering down. Exhaling, just lifting the neck and the head off the mat. Inhale, lowering down. Exhale, starting to peel the shoulders off the mat this time. Inhale, down. Exhale, lifting up. Inhale, down. You might notice your arms are starting to slide forward now. If that's the case, lift the arms up off the floor, pointing the shoulders, making sure the shoulders are staying away from the ears. On an exhale, coming up and forwards. Inhaling down, always starting with that chin curl. Inhaling down, this time go as high as you can. Inhaling down, exhaling up and stay up. Bring your arms a little higher. Imagine that you've got a box between those hands, and we're going to be passing that box around now with little pulses. Make sure your abdominals are engaged. Are we ready, ladies? Forwards, left, forwards, right, forwards, left, forwards, right, forwards, left, forwards, right, forwards, left, forwards, right. Keep going. Forwards, left, forwards, right, forwards, left, forwards, right. Well done. Hug those knees in. So those abdominals should be feeling lovely and warm by now, which can only mean one thing, my lovelies. It's 100 time. So we're going to start by working through each of the levels. We're going to try 30 in each level. And then when it comes to full 100 time, you can choose whichever level you're going to do and choose however many you want to do up to 100. Level 1, we're flat on the floor. We lift our head, neck and shoulders off the mat. Remember that we exhale for 5 beats with the hands down. We turn the palms up for 5 beats as we inhale. So when you're ready, inhale, nodding the chin to the chest, rolling up. Off we go for 30. Well done, lowering back down when you've done your 30. Level 2, raising our legs up into tabletop position, maybe slightly engaging our abductors on the sides, nodding the chin to the chest, up we come for 30, off we go. Well done, lowering back down. Level 3 now, knees into tabletop, feet raised, lower down to 45 degrees, nodding the chin to the chest, up we come and off we go. Well done, hug those knees into the chest, have a little roll round. So for our 100, you can choose whichever level you want to go to. It may be that you pick a level and stick at it and do your 100 all in one go. Or it could be that you start off in one level and drop down to a lower level. If you want to do it in 5 blocks of 20, you can do, or 2 blocks of 50. Stop at 50 or do the straight 100. It's entirely up to you, whatever feels good for you. So set yourself a little goal now. Decide where you're going to be starting off. When you're in position, in your own time, nodding the chin to the chest, coming up, off you go. Well done, lovely ladies. When you're ready, hugging your knees into your chest, having a little rock and roll round. Well done, that was a tough one. Whilst we're still on our backs, we're going to work still into those abdominals and into our hips for our frog exercise. So at the end, we'll put it together and it will look a little something like this. But before we get there, we're going to practice each of the different elements individually just to make sure we've got those movements right. And because in their own right, they're great exercises as well. So in our relaxation position, making sure that we've got that nice little natural curve in our spine with our neutral pelvis, raising our knees up into tabletop, floating them up straight from the body, pointing those toes, pulling the kneecaps away, engaging the glutes. We're going to pull the knees out to the side and lift, straighten the legs. Knees down to the side, straighten the legs. Knees out to the side, straighten the legs. We're imagining that those feet are just going up and down in a straight line, not moving at all, apart from up and down, staying on that same straight line. This time when we come down to our frog position, we're going to open the legs out, bring them back together to frog. Open out, bring 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 to frog. As we open out this time, stay out, we're going to join them together. Opening out, joining together. Opening out, joining together. Opening out, joining together. Opening out, joining together. Stay here. Up, down, up, down, like the exercise we were doing earlier. There was a method to my madness. Up, down, up, down. Hugging those knees into our chest. Well done. So those are the 4 different elements to our frog sequence. So when we've had a little roll out and massage through our backs, relaxed our hips, we're going to put all those sequences together. So when you are ready, floating those knees up into tabletop, straightening them out, down, out, together, up, down, out, together, up, down, out, together, up, down, out, together, up, down, out, together, up. Last one, down, out, together, up. Brilliant. Rocking and rolling, hands just near the knee joints, and rocking and rolling yourself so you come up into a seated position. Fantastic. Now we're going to look at another exercise tonight, our side twist. So our knees are going to be one along the front edge of the mat and knees kind of stacked a little bit. What we're going to be doing with this one is resting down on our other hand and starting by inhaling. As we exhale, just pulling up through the side. So we've got like a little rainbow curve at the side, lowering back down. It's not just a case of pushing yourself, it's a case of lifting the ribs almost to the side, engaging those oblique muscles there. Inhale, switching those muscles on. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, switch those muscles on. Exhale, lowering down. You should really be feeling it here as we engage those muscles. Lowering down. This time, we're going to come up onto our knees. So inhaling, exhale, lowering up, raising up even onto our knees, making sure we've got that arch at the side, holding it here for a couple of breaths, making sure we're pulling up, pushing into that wrist, lowering down. If that's getting a bit too much for the wrist, you might want to be on your knuckles, but it is a little more secure on a full wrist. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, pulling up, coming up to the side, raising that top hand. Our gaze can go up to that top hand if the neck allows, or if it's more comfortable for your neck, looking straight forwards. Inhale, arm comes down, lowering back down to the mat. Let's try that again. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, pushing up, arm coming up, lowering down. This time, when we raise up, we're going to bring the arm so it's coming over our head. Inhale, lengthen and stretch. Exhale, coming up, raising over, gaze up under that arm, holding it here, feeling a lovely stretch through both sides of the body. Inhale, lowering down. Inhale to straighten, exhale, coming up again. This time as we inhale, can you twist the body towards the mat? Exhale, using the strength in that bottom arm to push you up. Inhale, rotate into the mat. Exhale, coming back up. Inhale, exhale, pushing back up. Well done, quite a tough one. Flipping over onto the other side. Legs coming out to the side, stacked knees. Starting again by just working those oblique muscles, pushing in. Inhaling back down. Exhale. Really is just a tiny movement, but you should feel it kicking in. Exhale. Feeling it a little bit on this side that we've just worked as well. Inhaling down. This time we're going to come up onto our knees. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Lifting up. Feeling the stretch, the crunch through this side, stretching through this side of the body. Lowering down. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Pushing up. Raising that top arm. We can look up to that top arm, or we can have our head in line with the spine. Holding it here, really pushing up, whoopsie-daisy, through our side, lowering back down. That didn't want to stay in. Back in we go. And again, raising up, arm comes up. Inhale, lower down. This time our arm's going to come over our head. Inhale to strengthen, exhale. Arm comes over. Chest is opening up towards the ceiling, looking up under that arm. Inhaling as we lower back down. Let's hold that one again. Coming up. Lowering back down. On our next one, we're going to twist to face the mat. Back up. Twist to face the mat. Back up. Inhale down, exhale up. Should be feeling that bottom glute kicking in as well as it supports us. And inhale back down. Well done. That is quite a tough one. Eventually, what we're going to work towards doing is having our legs straight, really curving up through the spine and rotating like that through the body. But we're going to work through that one together. Don't worry. Something that we have worked on a lot recently, and I know that you're all getting so much stronger with that, is our teaser position, or in yoga, we call it our boat pose, where we raise our arms and legs, find our position of balance, and balance here for a little bit. So if you remember the different steps that we've been taking, and you can work through whichever step you're feeling most comfortable with, our hands go just under the thighs, close to the knee joint, but not on the knee joint because we don't want to damage it. Pulling our chest in, lowering back, using the abdominals to pull ourselves up, lowering back, using the abdominals to pull us up. So that's our first stage in getting ready for our teaser. For our next stage, our hands can come down behind us, either with the hands pointing towards the body or pointing away. As we find that balance point from the first exercise and start to raise 1, maybe 2 feet off the floor into our tabletop position. So this may be the stage that you're at, finding your balance here, and that's fantastic, well done. You can start to feel that in the hip openers and the abdominals. You may feel that you're strong enough to start straightening the legs. You may feel that you want to start playing with lifting the hands off the mat. Maybe you're here with your legs and arms parallel to the mat, starting to straighten the legs. Bring the arms parallel to the legs, pulling the chest forwards, rolling the shoulders up, back and down. Just finding whichever is best for you. So just have a minute there to play through the different stages, whether you're rolling back, practicing raising knees, lengthening, whether you're finding your balance in tabletop or finding your balance in full teaser. Have a little play and keep practicing that one. It's going to be great for strengthening those abdominal tummy muscles and also our hip openers as well. It's a really strong one, that, well done. When you're ready, we're going to roll back down onto the mat and do a little more work through their sides, through the obliques. Our legs are going to come up into tabletop position. We're going to make a cradle with our hands that our head sits in. Our hands are not there to pull our head up. We don't want to be pulling on our neck because we don't want to damage our cervical spine. It's really delicate. Our hands are there to support our head and just make sure it's not too heavy. So we're going to be engaging our abdominals. The point of this exercise is to get an opposite shoulder to an opposite knee. So starting off, exhaling, opposite shoulder to opposite knee. The other leg straightens with a pointed foot. Inhaling back up to centre. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, centre. You shouldn't be able to see those elbows in your peripheral vision. They're there solely to support your head. Exhaling as we lengthen, inhaling down. One more each side. Brilliant. Hook those knees in. Rock the chest out. Fantastic. Lower the knees down to the ground. Stretch them away from you. Point the toes. Raise the arms up and over away from you. Full body stretch as though someone's pulling on your toes and someone else is pulling on your arms. A lovely big stretch out. Letting the arms come down. The knees come back into our relaxation position. And just using them to lever you over to come onto your side on the mat. This bottom arm is going to come out for you to rest your head on. You may want a block or a cushion here. The top arm is going to join it. The knees can either be brought up in front of you or straight down, whatever feels good for you. And we're going to imagine we've got that piece of chalk in our hand. I'm going to draw a circle in front of us, rolling onto our back as the circle goes around us. Back around again, rolling onto our back. When our hands come up to the top, we're going to go around the other way. Hopefully you've got a little bit more room than me. Fantastic. When they come to the top, roll over onto your other side. I'm just going to flip and change ends of my mat, because otherwise I'll have my back to you and that would be rude. Straightening those arms out. Head again either on the arm or on a cushion or a pillow if that feels better for you. Arms together at 12 o'clock with that piece of chalk, drawing the circle in front of us, over the body, round behind us as we roll onto our backs, back up to the front, round again, back round behind us, Back up to 12 o'clock, going round in the opposite direction now, round. Back up to 12 o'clock, round behind us, and back up to 12 o'clock. Well done. Lying on our backs now. If you've got your resistance band or your scarf, grab it now. If you haven't got one, you can still do the stretches, but using your hands to support your legs. Choosing whichever foot you're going to start with first, placing it around the sole of the foot, lifting up to the ceiling, pointing and flexing, pointing, flexing. Then I want you to just point your big toe with your foot flexed, so it's going diagonally across the body. Bring it back to the centre, pointing away from the body now. Feeling a lovely stretch down the side of our leg, hopefully. Back up to the centre, letting that leg drop out to the side. Raising the leg up, letting it fall across the body. Back up to the top, lower it down. Swapping over onto our other foot now. Raising it up to the ceiling. If you try and push your hips down into the floor, you should feel the stretch a little more along your hamstrings. Pointing and flexing that foot. Really feel that rippling through the calf on the back of the leg. It feels great. And now turning the toes with the foot flexed so that the toes are pointing diagonally across the body. Holding it here, just noticing where you can feel the stretch. If you've got any areas of tension, just sending some energy there. Foot comes back to the centre. Turn it out the other way so your foot's pointing away from the body. Back to the centre, letting your leg drop out to the side. Straightening the other leg out, letting this leg come across the body. Lengthening back up to the ceiling and just releasing that leg down. Oh, that feels so good on my legs. Pushing yourself up into a seated position, coming cross-legged. Just finding a position that's comfortable for you. If you feel comfortable, maybe close the eyes. Take a minute to just notice your breathing. Going back to that body scan that we did at the beginning. Just noticing all the different areas in your body. How do they feel now? I definitely feel personally much looser in my hips, a bit less grumbly in my shoulders, which is great. Bizarrely, a bit of tension maybe in my ankles. How are you feeling physically? Take a moment maybe to just think how you're feeling emotionally. Do you feel better now compared to the start of the practice maybe? Maybe you had a few anxieties about what we were going to do in practice, but sometimes the hardest part is actually rolling the mat out and sitting on it. So well done for taking that step. It can be a biggie. Sometimes like just putting your trainers on and lacing them up to go for a run can be the hardest part, and rather than the run itself. Did you set yourself any targets during class? Did you meet them? If not, no worries, there's always our next class, or you can watch this video back and set yourself a different target next time. So I've just got a little reading for you today that's kind of really resonated with me this week. I was feeling not too great at the start of the week, being maybe a little bit too harsh and judgmental on myself, but after talking to some lovely friends and things, feeling much more positive by the end of the week. And so this really resonated with me, so I'd like to share it with you. It's by Donna Folds and it's called Self-Observation Without Judgment. Release the harsh and pained inner voice. It's just a throwback to the past and holds no truth about this moment. Let go of self-judgment, the old learned ways of beating yourself up for each imagined inadequacy. Allow the dialogue within your mind to grow friendlier and quiet. When you shift out of inner criticism, life suddenly looks very different. I can say this only because I make the choice 100 times a day to release the voice that refuses to acknowledge the real me. What's needed here isn't more prodding towards perfect, but intimacy, seeing clearly and embracing what I see in you. Love, not judgment, sows the seeds of tranquility and change. So putting our hands in prayer position at our hearts, lowering our head to our hearts to the earth. Namaste. Sending love from my heart to yours. And thank you so much for joining me in practice this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Namaste.